There we go, and we got to some people watching. Okay, so there we
Hey.
go. All the technical difficulties out of the way, and 25 minutes late. There you go. A fantastic start to the Star Trek Next Generation podcast. I'm fair play lad, Adam Lachlan, and this is your man over here, just not to this side. This is David Doherty-Jebb, as I like to call it. That's how I pronounce your name, David Doherty-Jebb.
Yes.
It's got a lot of da-da-da-da-da-das, and that's the only issue I have.
I think it's the thing. Yes, I have been thinking about it because yes, a lot that tends to be my name. Like people go, "What do you call you again?" David da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
We workshopped it because I'm the Jebb and Alan's the Doherty. So we did workshop it. So it was a bit like, did David Jebb Doherty sound? Oh, it doesn't
David
sound
Jebb.
just as good as
I like
David
Jebb.
Doherty.
I like Jebb. Just Jebb.
Just Jebb. Just Jebb.
Yeah,
That's
Jebb.
serious.
Jebb sounds like a cool name. Jebb sounds like an 80s character. It's like Jebb, you know what I mean? It's like...
Or a racist Republican.
Racist Republican, yeah. In the utopian future of Star Trek Next Generation, there's no such thing, I think, as the Republican and Democrat Party.
We're in it's a post-capitalist society, isn't it? There's no money. There's no money in Gene Roddenberry's universe.
We see that's always the thing that confuses me, because you do have businesses. I mean, look at Benjamin Sisko in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. His dad ran a restaurant, and I think on Earth in New Orleans on Earth.
That's so crazy. That's mental. That's crazy that's the example that you bring up, because it's exactly the example that I always think of. How does Ben Sisko's dad survive?
You know, there's hardly anyone on the streets. You're not going to have any customers.
Oh, I've got plenty of customers.
But how does he? Do you just go, well, because I give out soul food in New Orleans in the 24th century, can I just walk into a Lidl and take stuff?
Yeah.
And go, that's me. I'm taking that.
But it would be like so he would go, if I keep my business open for 5 days of the week, I get so many Federation credits, and then they go towards, like, I can input them into a computer and get my weekly shop. What was it in Star Trek Generations, when your doll is on the Enterprise, you know, the doll from the past, she's on the Enterprise with Picard, and then she's all like,
how much does this thing cost?
The economics of the future are somewhat different. Money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
No money? You mean you don't get paid?
The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
You're like, you're really gonna have to narrow that down a bit, Picard, for me. Like,
that's too vague, Jean-Luc. So go back. So you have not seen. This is the first time you've seen season 1. You're fresh.
No, I've watched season 1 before, but it was years ago, and because season 1 is so brutal. It's any time, like even at the start of the lockdown last year, I went okay, I'll watch some Star Trek Next Generation, and I'll instantly dip in like early season 3. That's where I'll go in.
As they get like a 2-piece outfit, and Riker has a beard.
Yeah. It's the more comfortable uniform. Do you remember it was something that was like the previous little onesie jumpsuit that they had was giving them all bad backs?
It was a 1-piece jumpsuit, and like if you had a bathroom emergency, because it looked like, you know, sort of going into like one of the episodes, you can sort of tell that it zips up from here, because there's in episode 2, Beverly starts to undo her zipper here. So
from the waist, from the waist. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like for me, it looks yeah. You like you're saying, it zips up from the back, so it's like you're taking the sleeves off and you're going. It's right down by your knees if you want to take a shit in the future.
If you're if you went into, like, you know, I don't know, the executive, you know, what do you call it, the executive officer's toilet, off the bridge. You know, it's just off the bridge, just next to the observation lounge, which is on the opposite side to
because you'd have en suite on the bridge, definitely. There would be a toilet pretty close.
Can you see under the doors, and you just see everybody with their whole uniform, you know, just down around their ankles.
Yeah.
So the comm badge is like, oh fuck, my comm badge.
Yeah, shit. Can you pass my comm badge back in there, mate? Sorry, I just dropped it out.
And then if you get your comm badge mixed up, you might just you might get like transported accidentally.
I always worry about that whenever, because there's like scenes whenever they're standing around and they would go 5 to beam up.
Přepravní box, tady Riker. 4 osoby na palubu.
And then they all beam up, and you're going, how does the transporter room know which 4 other people he meant? Imagine you're just walking by.
Yeah, you're just in the corner outside, and you're like out there, oh, this is I'm about to go off shift. I'm going to go down to 10 forward and get myself a wee Lactogeno to kick off the weekend. And then you're in like a hydrogen-heavy atmosphere.
I have a Star Trek theory about Quarks, right? Or any bar or nightclub in Star Trek, right? So say you go to Quarks, you're sitting, you're having a wee pint or something, you're having a drink.
Might I trouble you for a glass of Canard?
And then one of the waiters comes past your table and you're like, excuse me, where are the toilets in here? And they go, well, we don't actually have toilets because so many different species come through this bar. We have hollow toilets. So it's basically you go into a little room or a little tiny holodeck, and then it basically creates a holographics environment of the toilet that you're used to.
Heated seats. Make 3 shell toilet from Demolition Man.
Yeah, no, in the Star Trek Technical Manual, it's very specific about waste management. Nothing's wasted. Like, you will literally, the material, like, shit will be repurposed for replication. Like, so you, it kind of... It turns your stomach then whenever you see Diana Troy digging into a chocolate sundae and you're like going,
Computer, I would like a real chocolate sundae.
Diana, she's all, but then Diana can simply turn around and go, well, shut up, it's ice cream. It's not like poo that looks like ice cream. It's all the molecules of fecal matter recomposite. So it as far as we're concerned, it is ice cream.
Doesn't it taste good?
Of course it does, but it's not just a matter of taste.
She doesn't come into her... Oh, I think Deanna Troi was always like a favourite character of mine, but I think what I do is I connect her with her mother, who doesn't show up until the next lot of 5 episodes that we're going to look at.
Who is an absolute riot.
I'm not really very hungry tonight. I wonder what's made me lose my appetite. Any ideas?
Roxana Troi, played by Majel Barrett, who was married to Gene Roddenberry.
And the voice of the computer, am I right? Yeah?
The voice of the computer from original series until the end of Voyager.
What year did Star Trek Next Generation first air in the UK? Do you know the answer to that?
I am going to go with 1988.
I'm going to Google it here. Ooh.
89?
Oh, you're so close. It premiered on BBC Two in the UK on the 26th of September, 1990.
Oh gosh, that was quite a few years later. I definitely saw it. I definitely saw it sooner than that. It was definitely on home video before that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think I had Encounter at Farpoint definitely on VHS. I remember that much. So if it came out in 1990, that means that I would have been 7 years old when it first... What are you looking for?
I was, yeah.
Like a madman?
Because my aunt, she was a huge fan of the original series, and and all of the intervening.
How do you stand on the original series? Just to ask.
I don't really like it. I find it difficult to watch.
David, you asked a ledge. Yes, I find getting into the original series and like an impenetrable fortress. It's too silly.
It is mutiny! Dr. McCoy, Mr. Scott, you heard it?
Whereas Star Trek Next Generation, for me, it's good because people just stand around being deadly serious and everything's got real gravity and weight to it. And then there's a sense of humbleness and friendliness and inclusiveness. But the original series is just too silly.
It's the music, it's the makeup, it's kind of my problem with the original series is a wee bit like my problem with Voyager. What I quite like about Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation is that each character, yes, you've got the captain or the commander or is always going to be the main character or the driving force. But each of the characters have a backstory. Each of the characters, you get like 3 or 4 episodes per season, which is all about them and finding out about what makes them tick. But Voyager and the original series follow this thing where only 3 characters really got, the whole point of the original series was that in the 60s, we're in the middle of the Cold War. Obviously, civil rights and all that there. And so Gene Roddenberry has he's got Captain Kirk, but he's also got an African-American woman. Well, she's not actually, I don't think she is actually from, I think she is actually from Kenya. I think her characters have to be Kenyan. But because there's an episode where they say something and someone goes, I heard that in English. I heard it in Russian.
Yeah.
I heard it. She goes, I heard it in Swahili.
I'll agree. He was quite inclusive of that and giving like an African American woman but she's still on the phones. Like she's still the receptionist of the bridge.
Suhura, your last subspace log contained an error in the frequencies column.
If I hear that word frequency once more, I'll cry.
Cry?
I was just trying to start a conversation.
I do remember, and as I say, my aunt, she was an original series fan, and she did scoff. She was like, "This is going to be no good." So we watched it, and it was, but you can see. I think I think what you and I are picking up in the first season of Star Trek Next Generation, because it's still very Gene Roddenberry heavy.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that the original plan for Deanna Troi was for Deanna Troi to have 3 breasts. She's nice, but she's got 3 ditties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's
and then
basically that creature from Rogue One.
I was thinking of more like the mutant hooker from Total Recall on Mars.
Thanks.
That first series, especially the episodes that we've watched, have that silliness. That kind of.
Like Code of Honor, especially like Tasha Yar fighting your doll with the little oven glove with the nails on it.
Yes, like that's what I mean. Like what culture thought that's really good?
Yeah.
Like if the culture has come up with an idea of what we'll do, we'll make a glove that is really spiky and like. But you have to be careful because it's poisonous.
Yeah, but because obviously it reeks of original series because it's basically just the planet of the savages. That's all it is. It's basically Star Trek go to the planet of black people, and you're like going.
It's so cringy. Did you not cringe the whole way through it?
The abduction I have done according to our custom for all to see.
Tasha comes from like a sort of. Like, what would you she comes from like a kind of dystopian planet, doesn't she? Like
being chased by rape gangs and stuff with like a cat.
Which I kind of thought that was a bit harsh. That was a bit.
Yeah. There's a scene in the To Boldly Go whenever they're all having like visions, and she has a flashback to her hiding in the tunnels from the rape gangs, and she's got this little cat, and she's all, "Go, it's not safe here."
Now run. This place isn't safe at all.
And you're going, are they raping cats? Is that what? Like she's all, you gotta go. If they find us, they'll rape both of us.
Trivia. So, like, Marina Sirtis was meant to be a character called Hernandez, who was the Tasha Yar character.
Ooh.
And Denise Crosby was meant to be Deanna Troi. And then whenever they got together, they were like, no, we think you're better the other way around. So they got rid of Hernandez and they got a more sort of Slavic-sounding name to suit the blonde character.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how Denise Crosby would have cut it as Deanna Troi.
What, like everybody like shouting over her, and then she goes, "Captain, I sense aggravation."
Yeah,
do you know?
That's what I was saying. Because in To Boldly Go, the 5th episode, there's a bit in it where it's like when Lesser, I think his name Lesser or Chesser, sorry, the
Kozinski's
guy's the arrogant guy who thinks he's going to improve the propulsion. He comes in and he's a dick and he's arrogant, and then he leaves. And then Riker's all, "What do you reckon?" And she's like, "He's very arrogant and he's very cocksure of himself." And you're like, and Riker's looking at her going like, "This is brand new information to me. I had no idea, Diana. I'm glad you were here."
Your Betazoid empathic powers are spot on as usual, Diana. Do you know what it is? Go and get the coffees because you're fucking useless.
Yeah.
I would like a real chocolate sundae.
Have you no appointments? Have you no appointments ever?
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody. Like, there's a wee person sitting in her room waiting for their appointment. Do you know what I mean? They've had a really bad time. You know, they're maybe just transferred to the Enterprise, flagship of the Federation, high pressure job, waiting for a wee chat with the counselor. Well, she's upstairs. You know what I mean? She's having a great time.
What's she doing on the bridge? She's just sitting around waiting for something to happen so she could point out the blatant obvious in it.
Captain, he's lying. I'm almost sure of it. He doesn't mean what he says.
Going back to the Encounter at Farpoint, my favorite moments in Encounter at Farpoint is when all the staff bump into each other and they've basically all been riding.
In the past, there's like Riker comes in and he looks at her and she's like, and she's doing that telepathic Imzadi. We find out later that's because he was like posted to Beta Z when he was young.
Yeah.
And that's how they got. But yeah, how did you feel about? So going back and watching it, did you enjoy Encounter at Farpoint?
I like it because it always reminds me of oh yeah, we're gonna get loads of Q episodes. The whole hook, the Encounter at Farpoint, is basically Q going, oh, mankind are eventually going to get to the limits of their exploration as far as the physical reality is concerned, and actually exploring the universe. At one point, and it's kind of seeded that, maybe mankind are going to become Q at some point, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted Picard to basically be. Jean-Luc Picard transcends at the end of Picard. It's all about him becoming a Q. That's what I wanted. And watching Encounter at Farpoint made me go, God, that'd have been such an amazing arc for them to fucking come back to. I thought that would have been brilliant.
The question of Encounter at Farpoint is, is there hope for humanity?
Yeah.
And, apparently, once you rescue space jellyfish, then yes. Oh, look, they're shagging.
Are these jellyfish gonna hold hands and like swim, like float away holding hands? And I was just like, no.
If you had two blue jellyfish, it'd be like, oh, gay space jellyfish, cancel Star Trek. So one's a wee bit pink to let you know that it's a girl space jellyfish.
Yeah, you could have had both pink, because space lesbian jellyfish.
I think Gene would have been down for that.
He would have been down for that, definitely.
Should jellyfish lesbians be allowed to exist?
Yeah, it could have been groundbreaking television at the time.
It feels very, because like one of the big draws of the episode was, the saucer separation.
The sexy ass saucer separation.
Prepare for emergency saucer separ.
Which I don't think we ever do again. Do we?
They do it a few times, yeah. There's a few times where they do this. I'm not a big fan of the saucer separation. I think the battle section looks terrible. It looks really weird.
It looks like it's been broke up. And it's so I'm not a physicist, right? But so the warp capability is basically in the nacelles, which is in the battle bit.
Well, it creates a warp bubble around the ship, and then and then that slipstreams through space.
Yes, the ship doesn't move, the bubble moves, and you're in the bubble.
Yeah.
So it's in, but like the warp capability is all down in the nacelles. Like it's not. Do you mean you see? So that's where So if what I'm saying, like that's warp capable, and the saucer's not warp capable. So in the thing, they're like, can we separate at warp speed? So, but surely if you take off the bit that's not, once it stops moving at warp speed and it's at warp speed, it'll just fucking explode.
Kind of.
You can't just drop out of warp. You have to sort of, you know what I mean? You have to sort of.
My favorite bit about that in the episode was when they're putting it back together again, and Picard's being a real dick to Riker on his first day, and he's like, I want you to do it manually, no computers. And he's like,
do it the real fucking way. Don't keep it coming up here spawning about, you beardless bastard.
Yeah, get a suit on, you're going out there, push it back into place, kind of thing. But it's like, and then there's a really revealing moment then for Picard when he turns to Riker and he says,
one further thing. I would appreciate it if you could keep me from making an ass of myself with children. I'm not a family man, Riker, and yet Starfleet has given me a ship with children aboard. I don't feel comfortable with children.
don't let me make an ass of myself in front of children. And like, if you've never met someone who says that, you go, is there a part of your record Starfleet that are like redacted, Captain?
Yeah, it's like the certain levels of clearance that you need to get on it, and you're like going, there was an incident in the shower back at the academy or something like that, with a minor or something like that.
There was one time he got, I don't know, pissed on Romulan ale and ran through the fucking school, I don't know, the cadet academy naked. Have you ever been in a room naked with some men, Wesley?
I thought he was a hologram. I swear. I thought it was a hologram.
It doesn't count.
Even this like attitude towards Wesley, who, might I add as well, in the very early episodes of Next Generation, is wearing just an absolutely fantastic array of jumpers. Just going to put a little picture of Wesley's green jumper between us.
I never saw the point of Wesley. Like, there was just never any point. I think Jake Sisko was a better example of a child, because like, you've got Wesley, and as you say, like, originally, what was it like? What's it like to be on a spaceship full of adults? You get to drive it. In about 6 episodes, you just get to drive the spaceship, even though you're 12.
Wesley Crusher is made acting ensign with the duties and privileges of that rank.
Like, I haven't known the touch of a man since my husband died.
Decades ago. Light years away.
And you're like, oh, come on, Beverly. Like, you've not got like a 15 set and 24th century vibrator. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take this down generic.
Okay. Yes.
A computer, I would like a real chocolate sundae.